Hello, everyone. My name is Priya Patra, and I am the Vice President Outreach of the PMI Mumbai chapter. And we are back again. And this time we are talking on a very, very interesting topic. Project manager as an entrepreneur or intrapreneur, right? So, as we all know, I am the host of this event today, but I do also have Priscilla, our chapter leader from PMI Sao Paulo, Brazil chapter.
Everyone, nice to see you all.
And we have Clotilde, our chapter leader from PMI Cameroon chapter. Actually, she's the president of the PMI Cameroon chapter.
Hello, welcome.
And Isabel from PMI Madrid Spain chapter.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Welcome. And Damike Mendes, our chapter leader from Sri Lanka chapter.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, and we have many more panelists on the panel today. We will introduce them as and when the time comes. And over to you, Priscilla.
Welcome again to PMI Chapter Exchange Season 4, Event 6. And as Priya mentioned, today we are going to discuss project manager as an intrapreneur. Today we have our PMI friends joining in from 26 different PMI chapters from across the globe, North America, Latin America, Europe, Africa, and Asia, plus many more supporting chapters from the globe. Next, please.
It's coming. Yeah.
It's coming. This is our exchange effect map. When I see it, I think, wow, we are really connected and a part of a global community. We have, for today's event, registrations from 66 countries. Thank you all for this warm response to this initiative and for joining us today. So, and please keep saying hello to each other and networking as we begin. Today, we are pleased to announce that we have over 1,300 plus registrations from all over the world, 66 countries as mentioned before, from Alaska to New Zealand and all countries and continents in between. And please let us know where you are coming from using the Menti link shared in the chat. We'd like to remind you that this meeting is being recorded. So if you feel uncomfortable in any way, you can choose not to attend. If not, you are welcome to continue. We also highlight that everyone here at this event is speaking in our individual capacity. Then our opinions do not represent the opinions of our organizations in any ways. Thank you. Today, we are very happy to announce a new section in this event. And today we will spotlight you. How? Here are some rules. Participate actively in the event using the chat window. Share an interesting quote on the topic or on the event on our chapter exchange program. And then we will spotlight you in the end of this event. You and your quote will be published in our attendee spotlight section in our Inside Exchange Nugget. So gear up and share your quote in the chat window. So, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our guest speaker of the day, Galen Townsend, a compassionate systems leader with 30 years in strategy execution and value delivery, leading and supporting complex systems innovation and change to $500 million and teams of 5 to 15 plus people for education, energy, finance, government, and social impact. Chartered director and fellow serving on for-purpose boards and committees since 1999. Positive coach for purpose, impact, and well-being. So thank you for being here with us today, Galen. Over to you.
Priscilla, and thank you for joining us. Yes, I'm very happy to be here. Joining you from Perth, Australia, just one of the PMI board members and volunteers at your service. We're really at your service. So my brief introduction, my brief opening is more to set the scene for our global panel of experts who will be speaking shortly, so I don't want to steal the show. And just a few brief points, really. The first, I think it might become obvious very quickly that a lot of what we're talking about comes natural. They're really obvious strengths for many project managers out there. Whether you call it entrepreneuring or intrapreneuring, these entrepreneurial mindsets, their traits, they're the sort of things that you can see quite obviously in many project leaders. And I just want to run through them a bit quickly, briefly, and talk to them. So the first I would say is serving a purpose or vision with some sort of focus, some sort of intentional focus. Of course, they're very good at building a team, often with partners or suppliers. If you think of successful entrepreneurs, some probably pop into your mind right now. It's not just them by themselves. They obviously have a team behind them as well that can deliver. But they deliver with a really acute focus on customers, customer focus, and of course, value creation. It's all about how they can create value for customers and stakeholders. They're very good at, they have great connections. Usually they understand their networks. They can navigate, their ecosystem. I also think they're amazing leaders, of course. That's probably one of the first things that comes to mind. But they also broaden and deepen that leadership in their business. They're very good at adapting, fine-tuning their approach, always building in quality, navigating complexity, and of course risk-taking. We always think of entrepreneurs as taking risks, but really they're very good at managing risk. They're resilient. They're often very persistent. And sometimes they're just really lucky with timing. But it's because they're persistent. So, they might have been trying something for a while and it just happened at the right time that they're succeeding. And of course, they're always thinking about user experience and adoption. And I've kind of sneakily introduced not just entrepreneurs, but also project management, because each one of those 12 traits that I was talking about also correspond to the project management body of knowledge. And the PMBOK 7 12 principles. So the first one I was talking about was stewardship, then about teamwork, then value and systems thinking, leadership, having tailored approaches, thinking about quality, thinking about complexity, and risk, of course, being adaptable and resilient, and then, of course, about change management. So these are the kinds of things that all project managers, and of course contemporary project managers that have a broader skill set, whether it's more predictive or waterfall to lean, agile, adaptive, or a combination of hybrid approaches that combine the best for the context and the kinds of work that we're working on. And so I guess in that short introduction, it's to talk about entrepreneurs, but also intrapreneurs. And while the panel will talk more about intrapreneurs, a bit of my background in enterprise and also in entrepreneuring came more from social impact in social enterprises, but also how we create impact in large organizations through entrepreneuring. And often entrepreneuring isn't having a single entrepreneur. It's often finding and creating allies to work towards some sort of stakeholder change and creating value for organizations, helping them transform, but from within. And so I just wanted to leave it at that, really, and invite Shemek to introduce the panel, and I'll join you a bit later. Thank you.
Thank you, Galen. In fact, now it's my turn, not Shemek's turn. So yeah, everyone, let me introduce you to our program, and I will share my screen again. And this is how our program looks like. Ours is a PMI chapter collaboration initiative, and we call this as one team, one song, and one dance. And we are 26 chapters right now on this program. And it's actually a virtual community of chapter leaders that transcends across countries, continents, and cultures. We like to put it that way. And our vision is to evangelize cultural diversity. And we have experienced this, that when multiple diverse connections come together, we actually can create lots of innovative solutions. And by doing this, we are actually creating a community where we share good practices. We know that every chapter that PMI has a lot of good things that is going on. We try to get them together in a single melting pot, probably. And that's why you will see chapters from diverse backgrounds participating in this program, because we truly believe that diverse connections really do lead to innovative solutions. And we did not keep this all to ourselves. We did document our learnings in the form of a book, and it's here right now. And this is called the Xchange Effect. It is available on Amazon, and Priscilla Damike will put the link to the book on the chat window. So do read the book and share your feedback, comment, drop us a note and be part of this great initiative. And with this, I hand over the stage to Damike to introduce the Spotlight chapter of the month.
Thank you, Priya. Let me introduce Jesus, the president of the PMI Madrid Spain chapter. Jesus believes luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. He is a senior IT professional with experience in multiple sectors, creation, direction, and organization of companies, departments, teams, PMOs, product services, portfolios, program and projects, leadership of programs, and transformation of innovation projects. So, project management and continuous integration, maintenance and improvement of computer systems, management of relationships with external and internal suppliers, guaranteeing the fulfillment of strategic objectives. Before I hand over the stage to you, Jesus, I have two questions for you. First one, what is the time they are now at your side and the date? Second one, what does the logo of your chapter signify? Over to you.
Okay, thank you for this introduction. Okay, I have the privilege of representing the PMI Madrid Spain chapter in this event. Today is July 21st of 2023, and the time is 13 past 4 Madrid time. We are in the afternoon. Respect the chapter logo, the logo is the map of Spain, because the Madrid Spain chapter covers a large part of its territory, with a graph that represents the growth of the people who come to it. The idea is to explain that together with the PMI Madrid Spain chapter, its members grow personally and professionally. This is the meaning of the logo. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to make this presentation. I will start by talking about the country, giving a brief introduction to it, and then going on to talk about the PMI Madrid Spain chapter. Spain is a country member of the European Union. It is a parliamentary monarchy. It's the fourth largest country on the continent. Its population says 48 million inhabitants. Spanish or Castilian is the official Spanish language of the state. It's the second most spoken language in the world, and with almost 600 million Spanish speakers. It is a country with the fourth highest life expectancy in the world, and with high incomes. The Spanish economy is the 14th position in the world. Spain is a great tourist destination. It stands as the second most visited country in the world. In summary, to conclude this short presentation about Spain, It's an attractive country that I recommend you visit. It will be an excellent option for a vacation. I recommend. Okay, I pass to speak about the PMI Madrid Spain Chapter and explain that the fundamental goal of the chapter is to promote and develop a true professional sense in the practice of the project management in all its application areas. Regarding the vision, the Madrid chapter wants to be a benchmark for project manager professionals. The policy is to seek the recognition of project management by the senior management of all public and private organizations. The Madrid chapter has more than 1,400 members and 8 branches. The branches promote and develop the true professional sense of project management in areas that do not have headquarters but do have a vocation. The chapter initiatives for this year, 2023, aimed at promoting and improving chapter events, professional development, communication to members, and benefits to them. As key objectives, we have defined 3 for this year. The first is improve the chapter meetings. We plan to resume our previous run of events with monthly webinars and meetings of project managers. The idea is to have every year 8 members meeting with webinars, 8 additional webinars, 2 meetings of project managers, and 1 congress. The second key point is to improve volunteer opportunities and member recognition. Improve and promote volunteering, its management and results. Promote the Welcome Path and West Pass program to new volunteers, which is giving us such satisfactory results. Maintain and improve the recognition of volunteers, new members, and new PMP accreditations. At the last meeting, for example, on July 11, we resumed this recognition of certificates and new members with an exceptional good reception. As 3 key points, we have to improve communication with members and improve website. The objective is to resume and improve communications, such as welcome letters, reminder letters, farewell letters, West Pass program. Respect the website, the idea is to maintain the web with operational information. One of the benefits for members that we want to recover and promote is the publication of job offers. We have a pre-pandemic section on the website, Bolsa de Empleo. This is an employment web with volunteers providing information and posting job opportunities to members. The objective to meet is to publish new positions periodically and reach agreement with companies that provide us with job offers aimed at the professional profiles of our members. Finally, in the field of the youth and social good, we have conducted some initiatives led by Manuel and Cisu that I would like to highlight. We have an organization of the Conference of Social Projects together with the rest of the PMI Madrid Spain chapters with more than 200 registered NGOs and social entities. Also, we have the translation into English of free books related to project management for students from 12 to 16 years old, so that schools can also use them as material to engage students by combining learning about project management in collaborative environments and having fun. And finally, collaboration with junior achievement in Spain, being a jury in its national entrepreneurship contest for students from 14 to 16 years old, and awarding the prize for best project management. We talked about how much value project management brings to students in their development. I would like to invite global volunteers to participate in this initiative. You can contact with us and we will help you find the best way to collaborate in these objectives. finally invite you once again to visit Spain and visit us if you can visit Madrid. This is all for me, nothing more. Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to present the PMI Madrid Spain chapter. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you.
Okay, let me introduce you to our session moderator, Prismek. A bit about Prismek, a senior executive leader and advisor with experience in business and digital transformations, change management and innovations implementations, portfolio management, M&A, product and software development, e-commerce, financial, software information and energy. Former board member of PMI in Poland and Alumni Association of NATS University of Technology, university lecturer, volunteer and community activist, mentor and coach for European and MENA's startups. With this, I hand over the stage to you, Prismak, to take it all away. Over to you, Prismak.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Hi, hello, welcome everyone. It's so great to be here. So many new faces and familiar faces at the same time. So amazing moment. How we will be moving forward. I'll do a short introduction of all of the speakers, and then I'll start asking questions to everyone. While in the meantime, you as the audience, you can start asking your questions on the chat, and we will try to incorporate those in the discussion. So with that, back to the topic. We are talking about project management, entrepreneurship, and intrapreneurship, right? So amazing combination of all those traits and characteristics that Galen started mentioning. Now, before I go there, I just wanted to give you a few data points to wonder about. Like, if I were to ask you, how many entrepreneurs are there in the world? When you think about how many entrepreneurs are there in the world, right? 8 billion people or something, right? How many of those are entrepreneurs? And I'll give you the Wikipedia answer. It's 582 million. 582 million people are considered entrepreneurs in this moment in time, right? Obviously, some of them are moving forward in the journey, some others are not, right? But when we think about the intrapreneurship, right? So those people that have the characteristics of the entrepreneurs, right? There are probably multiple more. Just within the project managers, we'll be focusing on the project managers today. So I believe there are more than 16 million people within the profession, and many more change makers, right? Hundreds of millions of change makers around the world, in the corporate world and in all the organizations that may be adding to the economies. Jesus introduced us to the Madrid chapter and to the Spain economy, and thank you for that, right? And he mentioned it's the 14th economy in the world, right? So think about how many project managers are there. They are adding to the profession. How many entrepreneurs are there as well, and building that. But it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. Apparently, the statistics say 20% of the businesses fail, unfortunately, within the first 2 years, right? So it's a tough job to be entrepreneur, right? And then within 5 years, another 45%, with the total of 65% in 10 years. So that's a huge failure rate. But we as project managers, we know that failure teaches us something, and we are resilient, and we pick up and we move forward, right? And it's quite similar to different, when you think about it, it rings a bell with all those different Standish Group chaos reports and all the other reports, and PMI is doing the analysis, how many projects are successful. Brightline Initiative was doing the transformations check, how many transformations are successful in the organizations and how which are not. And number of those have challenges, right? 20 to 30% fail utterly, right? And another 30% or so do have some challenges as well. So there are overlaps and there are similarities between project managers and entrepreneurship that we see just purely from this data. Right? And then we'll jump a little bit more into the discussion. So brief introduction of everyone that we'll be chatting to, and they will wave and say hello when I introduce them. Yeah, you've already heard a few words about Galen. Galen is joining us from Australia, so just he will wave once again. We do have Keith Katiora from South Africa, and he has amazing motto there: harnessing the power of energy to make a difference in Africa. Right, so a powerful statement there. Keith is senior electrical engineer, advisor, and project manager with expertise in energy sectors of Southern, Central, West, and Eastern Africa. M&G top 200 young South Africans of 2019, and within 2020 he got Sania Young Engineer of the Year award. Currently, he's Outcome 3 Deputy Lead in USAID Southern Africa Energy Program in Deloitte. So Keith, welcome. We're honored to have you here. Then we do have Prasanna Lohar from India, and he brings 23 years of vast experience in engineering, development, product development, organization strategy, and governance within different sectors: finance, banking, e-commerce. He's very into blockchain and all the technology sessions, and many more, but definitely, well, last but not least, right? He's within the project management, and he has a huge expertise there. So he founded a few organizations. He's chief executive officer of Blockstack. He's innovation officer in PayCircle, and advisory number of other organizations. Previously, VP of technology of DCB Bank. A speaker, mentor, and engaged professional. So Prasanna, welcome. We're happy to have you here. Then we do have João Carlos Boyagin from Brazil, and he's master in naval engineering, he's business administrator, he's professional in project management, and definitely he's expert in planning. He's actually a fellow of a scheduling professional within the PMI. He has number of different professional certifications, and he's teaching about those. He's ATP authorized trainer for the PMP kickoff and few other of those. He authored a few books, including Theater in Project Management and Project Management System, and he's teacher, professional speaker, and mentor. Currently, he's also connected with the PMI Armenia, and he's president of the Armenian Fund of Brazil. So, João, welcome. Happy to have you here. We do have with ourselves Ravi Kushal, and he calls himself thinker, empathetic collaborator, team player, and leader. Right? And he brings vast experience from 17 plus years in Microsoft, and he went through all the different spectrum of roles there within technology and project program management, finishing with principal technical account manager, and now currently he's technical project and program manager of GitHub. And he's focusing on advanced security and code QL services. He is leading complex global multi-cloud projects from ideation to launch, and all the support teams from there. And he's representing USA and North America here with us. Ravi, welcome. And from Spain, joining us, Manuel Ancizu. He is commercial program manager in global wind energy projects within Siemens Gamesa. And within that organization, he actually spends also 17 plus years. So, gentlemen, the handshake there. And before that, he was head of project quality management, number of other roles there as well, but connecting to different types of focus on project and support of the customers. He's also professor in the Master of Digital Project Management in SID Digital Business School, and he holds MBA from IESE Business School in Spain. So those are all of our esteemed panelists. Gentlemen, welcome once again. And now we will jump into the discussion. And I'll actually start with Galen, as he did this wonderful introduction to us and mentioned the connection of intrapreneurship with project management. Galen, if you could reiterate and remind us those traits and characteristics of the entrepreneurship mindset in project management, and maybe you could mark one or two that you love the most or are inspiring the most of you out of those 12 or more that you mentioned?
Sure. Thanks, Shemek. I think when you think of entrepreneurs, you always think of risk. Like, oh, they're risk takers. Like they go above and beyond. Whereas they tread where others fear to go. And I think good risk management is part and parcel of being a successful entrepreneur. Of course, you always don't hear of the ones that fail. So maybe they're all taking risks, and there's the ones that fail and the ones that succeed. Just statistically. But good project managers, I think, are also very good at risk management. Without realizing it, I think we go out of our way to intentionally and informally manage risk. On the flip side of that, if you think about the risk and value equation, is of course value, how we create value for our customers, for our stakeholders. And of course, you can't be a successful business person, entrepreneur or intrapreneur without actually having an understanding of and elaborating often with stakeholders on what their value you're trying to create for them. So, I think of it as stakeholder value and risk.
Amazing, thank you. Yeah, I love the value building, right? You see it in the agility, in project management, in entrepreneurship, the value chain that you need to have there and understand it, that brings basically almost any profession together, right? Building the value. Thanks you, Galen. So maybe I'll move to Keith. Yeah, and Keith, I was wondering, when you think about those traits and characteristics or any other that you'd like to add, but also when you think about how a project manager or a leader can encourage the culture within the organization of this entrepreneurship mindset or intrapreneurship, right? So you think about your teams and your organizations, and we know what characteristics we would like to have in project managers, but how can we enhance those or encourage those in the organizations and our teams?
Yeah, thanks so much for that. I think for me, what always resonates quite a lot is that saying that not everyone is born to be an entrepreneur. And you always see that quite a lot, especially in this environment that we are living in. But there are certain qualities that I always say that if you look at some of the biggest stories, like the story of how the iPhone or came about, it was a mistake that resulted in one of the greatest innovation. And part reason for that was that if you look at some of the leaders that were behind that project, not just Steve Jobs, number one was, when you're leading a team, it always has to be leading by example. You're a project manager, everyone is relying on you to drive the team, to also ensure that you're representing them from a higher perspective. And I think the second one is also empower and delegate. I think, not just from a project management point of view, I think even in business, empowerment and delegation is always a big thing, because either as a project manager, you always say, okay, the deadlines are there, so I can't delegate because they're not going to move as fast as I want. And you result in a situation where, you have a team that's not working well together. I think the next thing we'll talk about how creating a safe environment, right? Not every project is always going to have its own difficulties. I think even from an energy, transport, whatever industry that we're all in as project management, you will never get a project that will get you from point A to Z as easy as they come on paper when you write that scope of work. But I think just creating that safe environment that allows you to be able to push forward with your team together. And then I think for me, this is the most important one, is allowing time for innovation, right? When we always think about innovation, we always think that, well, innovation is about what the Silicon Valley guys are doing, or the computer science guys are doing, or coming up with the software. Innovation exists even within projects that we're developing. And many times with a lot of these projects, it's a problem that you're solving. Clients come to us with a problem, and within that problem we have to drop a scope of work that is able to solve that problem. And a lot of the times you always see that sometimes innovation requires you to be open-minded, it requires you to be agile, it also requires you to have a bigger view in terms of how you see something. And then I think for me, the last one is promoting a learning culture. I think for me that's really quite important, that as you're working in teams, whether it's a multidisciplinary team, what you always see with entrepreneurs and what they will always tell you is that you never stop learning, right? The end goal is not to make money. The end goal is to be able to create a product that can replicate itself to the point where you create a lasting impact. And I think for me, that becomes almost like the cherry on top, where if you don't have that environment where there's that learning culture, then it never really works. Yeah.
Apologies, so many screens. Keith, thank you so much. That's super interesting. A number of characteristics that you mentioned, I think when you flip them and you think about the entrepreneurs, right? We hear about those family-led enterprises and CEOs that are struggling to let go, right? Rather than being able to empower and delegate. And we do hear about those, and they probably would discuss a lot. I wouldn't judge here that number of things you do in the enterprise are for the money eventually, at least, right? So you want to earn money and grow with that, but it's not the only thing that you focus on, obviously. Thanks for that. So you covered a lot of things, how we as project managers could help our teams and what environment we should be building. And if we would be looking from the other way around and the other perspective, and I'll ask this question to Prasanna. So Prasanna, looking from the C-level perspective or organizational processes, strategies, organization perspective, is there a role, or what role does the leadership play in supporting project managers in having this successful entrepreneurs or entrepreneurial mindset?
Yeah, I think super. I think great to be here, and namaste to everybody out here from India. Thank you so much for inviting me here. I'll take an example, right? One of the bank where I was working last 10 plus years as a chief digital officer. The bank, say example, the bank has some journey of traditional banking until 2014, where externally in India there were a lot of public digital platforms are coming through Government of India, National Payment Corporation of India, or UIDI, which is Aadhaar, like digital identity ecosystems out there. While bank is having its own journey, they look at how they can change their orbit from one orbit to the next orbit. And typically for any organization, orbit change exercise will be governed by the people in the organization. Who are those people who are driving leadership in the organization? Who is driving? What is their skill set? Are they knowing new technologies? Are they still working on the old legacy technologies? Okay, post we know which are those technologies, and post we know what people you have. Are they really applying right set of automation in the company? Are they, is this automation is helping customer to improve customer experience, or is it helping employees to improve their operational experience? Moreover, which are those technologies? While we have seen mobility, cloud, are they adopting AI, big data, blockchain kind of a technology, which will take organization to the next level? And whatever they do, they should look at what is happening in that space as far as the regulation is concerned, whether as far as the banking is concerned in India, Reserve Bank of India, what new regulations they are bringing in that year, or what more regulations they have brought in. What are those partners? Right? How can we take help for the partners to grow from one orbit to another? And ultimately, it boils down to ask your customer, are you happy? What was your experience last year and this year? What is that you are expecting next year? Because as a competition, there are other banks also serving same customer. So when we look at this kind of a challenge in front of you, example, in 1 year, as you rightly said, management always decides how many projects you have delivered last year. What this project has really brought in as an automation index for the company. Okay, what is that business we have created because of a new project, like customer onboarding as a new project, or during COVID, we must have seen so many innovations, so many digital transformations are done by every bank. Is it really help to the business or to bring a value to the customer? So when you talk about that at an organization level, it becomes very, very important, starting from top to bottom, how they are driving this whole gamut of the various projects. So one of the example we have done is like project 309. Right? So why 309? Because say example in a bank where we have a 20 plus business units, and the MD asks every unit, what is your priority? And what is your priority? How this priority of automation will help to go back to the next orbit. And every business unit head comes with some 7 projects, some 18 projects, and that number has become in the bank like 309. And they called as a whole program as a 309. Okay, now we know the aspiration of a bank. With the help of the 309, this bank who is having some index 1.0, it will become bank 2.0 the next year as a strategy. Now, while we have an aspiration as a 309 program, how every project in a 309 will be driven by the whole unit, right? A whole bank unit. And if a bank, every unit will say, I'll go to the information technology and I'll drive the whole project with the business requirement, followed by design, partner identification or internal development, followed by actual architecture, procurement of the servers, and typical next level like testing. And in the bank, we have additional security testing, audit, compliance, then go live. Imagine 309 projects are done by a single IT unit. And with aspiration, within 1 year, we have to exit all of these projects. So it's very, very important for whole organization to come together and review on a regular basis, how are we moving ahead. So just to, in a nutshell, why the way we are doing tactical project management so far, either with a iterative model or waterfall model, it becomes very important. How are we driving the whole program, which is comprised of so many projects? And take a cautious decisions whether any of this project demand was there today. Is it the same demand is available in the next 3 months? If not, please deprioritize. So it's very, very important for any organization today to bring on all the stakeholders, typically IT, business, operations, infra, security, compliance, top management, and review all of these things under one some kind of a structure. Example, we had a structure like a strategic project and architecture review committee. This committee used to review new requirements. This committee used to review what is happening at all stages. All projects are there, and this committee used to take corrective actions as well as the preventive actions, so that they uplift the actual KRA of the whole organization, right? So in the sense, and typically every month MD used to see, this is my program. So are we really giving justice to all the budget which I approved? So when we started 309, we budgeted 309 could be somewhere around 2,000 crore INR as a value, as a high level estimation value. And against that, how much 10x am I getting 10x over a period of 3-4 years? So I think to review is very, very important. While we have a tactical project management for every project, at an organization level, we need to involve board members and every stakeholder. How do we move ahead, right? So now this is typically is very, very important, how to involve every leadership. Now I'll take last 20 seconds to say that leadership is not only top management. Leadership can come from a single employee who is sitting somewhere in the bank branch and taking care of your customer. And if he says, this is my one idea which will uplift bank's image or bank's index from level 1 to level 2, to certainly bring on a internal idea generation program, a bank size of 5,000 employees, and if you have a path-breaking 10 innovations from 10 employees, imagine you are creating new leaders through this kind of where it's internal innovation. Certainly you can ask implementation with the partners, but I think that is how we need to look at, while we have a certain set of leaders today, how can we create new leaders with the innovative minds? We have a traditional ways of measuring KRAs, but we need to sometimes take a different shift, because 2023 onwards, there is a altogether different shift in the work from home or a future of work, right? People used to,
Prasanna, I hear a lot of amazing insights, right? And it links quite well with what Keith was saying, right? So he was saying, build the environment, empower people, and get them, give them the tools to move forward with the innovations and with the entrepreneurial mindset. And you're saying on the larger level, that's the same, but you need to have a proper governance for that, because otherwise it may go in few different directions. So the one would be the process for the leadership, the other one would be the process for the innovation and enhancing the innovation, and at the same time the strategic and prioritized direction, when you are saying to the organization, we want to be entrepreneurial and innovative organizations. So we need to use those concepts and have the right approach there, and that requires governance. Thank you for that. And actually, Prasanna mentioned a number of things around the technology, right? How reviewing the automation technology can help. So I wanted to go a little bit deeper into that. And Ravi, when you are thinking about the project managers, can we leverage technology and digital transformation to drive even more innovation and entrepreneurship within our projects? And if yes, maybe some examples, or you have some ideas around that.
Yeah, thank you, and really nice insights from Prasanna, Keith, and in fact all others. The answer is yes, absolutely. We can take technology or this digital transformation as an enabler to drive innovation and also to boost our entrepreneurial journey. But let me just tell us first a quick background, my insights about this digital transformation, because this buzzword has been listened by all of us for a couple of years, for many years. And then I'll take the innovation part or the entrepreneurship part later. So technology is sometimes intimidating, and also me being into information technology for many, many years, I always hear that these tools, what you talk, Ravi, they are very confined only for information technology or projects or the product which you are developing related to software technologies. But in reality, the thing is, the tools or any of these digital transformation we talk, it actually touches every single industry. And when we talk about digital transformation, we are talking about any single industry's digital transformation. You just name it, from manufacturing to auto or even to healthcare. Digital transformation is happening, and everybody's kind of embracing that. That's something is important. The biggest challenge we face is that which technology to adopt. And at times we kind of debate there too much rather than looking at what we are trying to achieve. So if we are looking at driving innovation, if we are looking to boost our entrepreneurial journey, don't just focus on tools or a specific tool. You look at what you wanted to achieve. For example, you wanted to do planning. You wanted to understand, how your project or the products of your project would kind of shape. And then you need to do the planning for that. Use any tool which you feel that your organization is using. Or you look around, search that what other tools are available and which one can help you or your organization, and suggest. And once you start thinking in that manner, you will be able to find out that these tools, these digital transformations are actually helping you. And now I'm going back to the next part, which is innovation and our journey of being or thinker as an entrepreneur. The most important part of driving that innovative journey is to find out what all things you wanted to achieve. Again, going back to the previous point, that look at the bird's eye view, what your organization is trying to achieve and what projects they wanted to kind of deliver, and then look at your project and then try to find out, okay, these are a couple of things which we are going to do, and we will be able to achieve it. In my real world or in my point of view, when I was dealing with complex projects, I always encounter scenarios where people say that, we have to follow only certain technology, we cannot proceed further. But then we realize that, okay, whatever work we are doing, we are actually contributing back to our own product's improvement. And at times, it helped us to go back to our product teams and improve the product. So key takeaway, the answer is absolutely yes, but be very broad when you're thinking about certain tools. Look at various other competitors, find out which tool can help you, and then go from there and drive innovation. So Innovation can be inward, as I believe was Prasanna or Keith said, or it could be outward, which means that sometimes the work which you're doing, you can just innovate that, improve from your own learnings, and also look at how others are doing, or maybe you can improve your own complete product portfolio, what your organization has. So I think that's my take. Back to you.
Perfect. Ravi, thank you so much. So start with about why, basically, right? And then know what you want to achieve, adapt accordingly.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So we tackled a few different dimensions of the organization and the entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship within that. Now let's try to reverse it a little bit. So my question and that would be to Manuel is, what value can project management add to entrepreneurs in their path to create something new, to fulfill their endeavors, right? So rather than within the corporate organization per se, is there something that project managers can teach them or add on or provide value for the entrepreneurs?
Sure. Project managers as entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, but we can see the other way around. So what value can add, as you ask, this project management to entrepreneurs? Absolutely a lot. Why? Because projects are all about people, and projects are all about making ideas come true. Yeah? So it's not just to have the idea. The key thing here is to transform those ideas, those strategies, those dreams into something that is real, that we can actually touch or we can actually feel. Yeah. And for that, project managers and project management is very well positioned. So imagine that from the very beginning, how we do this brainstorming, how we find a purpose for our ideas so that we can go with a sponsor that is perfectly applicable to entrepreneurs. Then we are just doing things, but no, a project manager, what does he or she do? The planning. Then, as it was also mentioned, the risk management. If in agile environments we are creating, but we don't deliver the full value in one shot, we split it in different slices. We do prototypes. We engage with our stakeholders. We test it. We engage again. We receive feedback. We do our retrospectives, our learning sessions. We engage with the teams. We don't do everything on our own, which is very important to entrepreneurs and even solopreneurs. It's important not to do everything on our own, but we engage with our teams, our team members. We lead those teams. No matter where they are, we engage with the planning, with the risk management, with the stakeholders management, with our metrics, and then with all together, we keep moving forward. And it's not only techniques, but also the soft skills that all project managers that want to be successful have, which is patience, persistence, passion for making that idea come true. And no matter what, we really know very well how to do three aspects. The first one is to understand the context we are in. Our projects are part of organizations, so we know where we are going so that we can address it in a proper way. Second, we value the network. Yeah, we cannot do it alone, and entrepreneurs cannot do it either. So how to engage with people, with stakeholders, with our networks in order to keep progressing and continuous learning so that we incorporate other learners along the way to make those ideas come true. So all these facts, not only techniques, but also soft skills, are very useful for entrepreneurs or intrapreneurs. We have experienced that in PMI Madrid, where when we have engaged with Junior Achievement NGO, and they have gone to more or less 9,000 students all around Spain, and in different competitions incorporating project management learnings, so that the students proposed an idea and then they worked during the school year to make it come true. Yeah, and we have engaged with them, and it's fantastic how these project management techniques can bring to not only to talk about ideas, but once the idea is there, how to make it happen. And you can imagine the smiles of those students when they passed from the paper to the reality. And then it was all because they applied the right project management soft skills and hard skills.
Oh, that sounds lovely, right? So through teaching them project management approach, they may become entrepreneurs if they decide to, right? And they already have a nice face. I did love one thing you mentioned, among all the others, of course, like the triple P. You did not call it there, right? But to be the right entrepreneur and entrepreneur, you need PPP: passion, persistence, and patience. Right? I do like this, and I will definitely remember that. Thank you. So we see that project managers can help entrepreneurs, and the mindset goes both ways, actually, in this scenario. One of the areas that is quite interesting to think whether the entrepreneurial project manager can add additional value or make more good is the public area. So Joao, Carlos, I wanted to ask you the question: how does an entrepreneurial project manager in the public area work with the focus on results, right? So you want to have entrepreneurship mindset and have the results, but you are within the public area where we all know that sometimes it goes, well, differently than we anticipated. Oh, you're on mute. Can we hear? Oh, so now you're not on mute, but we cannot hear you. At least I cannot hear you. As we all know, those challenges happen to every one of us from time to time. No. So while Joao is getting ready for that, and from the moment you are ready, we'll jump back to this question, right? So please test. We will jump to the first question from the audience, okay? In the meantime, and then we'll come back as that gets sorted out. So an interesting question I see from Ansaraj Parida, and it's how to minimize the bureaucracy interferences in the journey of innovation and entrepreneurial journey, right? So the bureaucracy that is blocking or interfering with the journey and innovation, right? So that goes to some extent to the governance. So maybe we'll start with Prasanna, if you want to take it, and then if anyone else would like to jump in and add on, that would be lovely.
Yeah, I think wonderful question. I think what happens typically in any organization who want to grow or who don't want to grow, it again drill down to the people in the organization, how innovative they are, how much risk-taking appetite they have, how much little budget they can put on to do same thing innovatively, and so on. I think the way I look at innovation as an agenda should be driven to all the employees. It shouldn't drill down to one single unit. Typically, what we have seen last 4 to 5 years, any of those organizations are now coming up with a separate structure, so-called innovation unit or a digital unit, chief digital officer, right, which was not existing 20 years before, or a chief innovation officer who was not existing altogether, right? So I think, in my view, some of these key result areas, wherein we have customer experience or taking care of a compliance, taking care of business based upon role of every individual in the organization, I think innovation should be KRA of every individual. Say it could be weightage of 2% or 3%, while customer experience was not a KRA before 2010 or before 2012, which is now coming up in most of the banks as a customer experience is a KRA for a contact center, maybe 25%, but for every individual, 5 to 6% based upon what role they are bringing. Now, while I am serving same customer, which my competitor is serving, it becomes very, very important for every organization how innovative they are, how innovative they are engaging, onboarding, serving the same customer. It becomes very important while there is a surge of new technologies is coming. So in a nutshell, what I feel to answer this question, innovative culture, importance of innovation, importance of doing differently. While you are doing induction with the day-to-day process of that company, you add on one more segment so-called innovation and teach innovation when an employee joining in the organization and announce the innovation is a KRA for all of you all. So bureaucracy remains around innovation still. But people will compete for that innovation because it's now need of their individual performance, unit performance, as well as organization performance. Now, as a innovation index of every company, it will be driven by how innovative is the employee, as a team, how innovative, as a unit, how they are innovative ahead of the others, and how innovatively they are helping other units. So in one of the organization I worked, they had one phenomena which is called as the ESQ, empathy, speed, and quality, and it was the responsibility of every employee in the organization. How empathetic, how with the speed, how quality they are providing, how innovative they are providing support to the another employee, another unit, as well as to themselves. Awards, how bring on some of these awards in the organization, how innovative we are, top 5 innovations. I spoke about internal innovation, some programs, as well as bring on innovation from the outside, like open innovation to bring on. So in a nutshell, if you have to really do away with all this bureaucracy, bring on a structured so-called innovation unit, which will cut across all the units, go and talk to them and tell your innovation index out of 10 is a 7. And if you do these additional 3 things, your innovation index will grow. And bring on this more often trainings and awareness. Let's put up all these stickers, posters to talk more of that body language of that organization. So all of a sudden, while we are competing within organization, this becomes a norm for that company. I think that's how we can look at how to instead of fighting against those bureaucracy, bring on that bureaucracy as a to bring on more innovation. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Prasanna. And I see Ravi wants to add on that.
I think, Prasanna, you're very apt on. And I think my one-liner would be, what's there for you? This has to be, propagated everywhere and to everyone. So if we all start knowing that, okay, what's there for me? So, and then that's what happens if you bring change. If you want to say somebody, do something differently, because we have innovation, we're going to optimize it, we're going to save things, or we're going to create new things, people would not accept it. But if you say, what's there for you? These are the things for you, you're going to gain from it. And yes, people would onboard that journey and would love, to participate and drive that innovation. So I think that's answer, but yeah, it's a tough road to pursue, practice. And I think all those other mantras we just heard would help, us to kind of overcome these layers, so-called bureaucracy, to drive innovation.
Thank you, Ravi. And Keith?
Yeah, I think for me, I might be a little bit biased because I'm always gonna keep going back to the original iPhone story, which I think a lot of the people here should go and read up on it. It's a very amazing story. And for me, I think one of the greatest takeaway that I took out of there was how they founded the slide to unlock feature on the first original iPhone. It was actually the UI designer that was on a plane, and he went into a toilet and realized that the aeroplane doors, you slide to unlock and then you slide to lock, vice versa. And after they were done with that one feature, how they decided that they had found the first sort of like MVP was that one of the hardware guys went and gave the phone to his 5-year-old daughter. And the reasoning was that if my 5-year-old daughter can use this iPhone, which we want to release out to the world, that means that everyone should be able to use them. And I think what you can take away from that is that sometimes innovation does not have to be complicated. And especially in some of these big projects, and I'm coming from an engineering perspective where you have different stakeholders, whether it's the designers or the actual construction workers. Innovation is not limited to anyone in a team. And I think at many times as a project manager, we tend to always forget that when you're creating that environment, the innovation is not going to come out from that only from that system designer or draw designer. It can come. It's a team sport. It's a collaborative effort, and I think also the last part when it comes to innovation, there's always this saying that some of the greatest inventions have already been made. Now it's just a matter of replicating them and enhancing them. And many times when you also then look at some of these products, it's also looking at how are we creating products that the end users are going to be able to enjoy and actually want to use. And I think within that type of thinking, there's a subtle innovation in the way in which how you are now packaging your end product in such a way that you're putting yourself in the shoe of the person that's going to be receptive of that product. And that's also one of the things that, if you talk to a lot of these entrepreneurs, whether it's in the tech space or even design, construction space, they always talk about how, it's about the end goal, the end product that you're giving to someone. Because if they're not happy, then you failed. Ultimately, you can finish the project on time, but if the person that's receiving it does not like it, then you haven't gotten any type of success ultimately. So I think for me, that's how I just look at it. And also picking from the previous speakers is that innovation is for everyone. And sometimes it's not about the most genius idea. Sometimes it's in the simplest idea that you'll get. So yeah.
Thank you, Keith. And I think all three discussion points are saying that the culture is important. So setting the culture within the organization that is highlighting specific values that we connect to the innovation and the growth will help us move forward. And actually people will be making decisions without need for too much bureaucracy. Of course, safety features apply, right? Within that. Thank you. Thank you so much. So now let's check, Joao, are we on? No. No. Oh, I can hear something. So maybe you need to be a little bit closer to the microphone. I can hear you, but in a distance, that you are far away. I can hear you, but you are far away. So maybe you do have a microphone, or maybe you are talking through the headsets that are automatically connected, and you should drop them. So in the meantime, we will go with another question. Then we do have a question from audience, and I start with Manuel. So the question is from Robert Snyder. And there's a little bit of intro and then the question. So my attempt at challenging the panel and everyone here, we've had a couple decades of software-centric methodologies, yet VUCA survives and thrives because software is not what makes innovation difficult. People is what makes innovation difficult. So are we receptive to a methodology formulated to be people-centric? The software is gonna be fine. So again, people is what makes innovation difficult. Are we receptive to a methodology formulated to be people-centric? Manuel.
Yeah. People don't make innovation. People might make innovation difficult, but people make innovation absolutely great as well. Because as said before, projects are all about people. And projects are limited in time. So there is a start and there is a finish. Yeah, hopefully successful. So there are teams coming in and coming out, and you don't always have the opportunity to choose your own team. if you are a leader, and if you are a team member, you don't always have the opportunity to choose the team. Someone chooses that you are assigned to a team. But what is common in all projects? That there are people in. So no matter where, we need to understand, we need to know who we are working with, who is who in our organizations, to make those ideas come true. And no matter where the software is, no matter where the innovation, people are the ones that are going to make that come true. Let me put you an example of innovation that the software was absolutely brilliant and no one used it. I was at the beginning of my career, I had an assignment and there was this tracking system for deliveries. It was apparently it was a great software, but no one used it. And there was the headquarters, and then there was a warehouse 10,000 kilometers away. The software was not used. And in the headquarters, they said, what is happening? The software is fantastic. It took us 2 years to develop focus teams, best technologies, state-of-the-art technologies, and 10,000 kilometers away, no one used it. So I came there and I started to talk to the people, and then I realized that they didn't know how to use it. When they had a problem, no one gave the answer on time. There were difference in languages. So it was so far away that even though the innovation was so good, they didn't use it. So there I learned that no matter how good is the software, it's all about people running the software. So people can be both sides. People can be like a stopper for innovation, but it can also be a front runner for innovation, and the ones that really make those innovations be used in a day-to-day basis, which is really what it's all about. Not just having the innovation in paper, but adding real value on real people's lives and improving the communities we live in.
So I think that goes pretty well with what you mentioned before, that entrepreneurs and people with agile mindset have something in common, right? So people over processes understand what you want to achieve, where's the value within that. And specifically to the question, are we receptive to methodology formulated to be people-centric? So I take it that yes, we should be definitely focusing on that and be receptive to that.
If we are not, it's very likely that our project doesn't move forward consistently or in a robust way. Because in the end, we will need to make agreements. We will need to make trade-offs at some points because of this balance, cost, quality, time, resources. There will be trade-offs. Who is going to do those trade-offs? People. Who is going to have that idea, that new idea of that another panelist said of starting small in innovation? Who is going to have that idea? People. If we, same the other way around, if you don't put people at the center of your methodology, then it's very likely that you are not going to really make that happen as planned. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Manuel. Galen, did you want to add something on top?
No, well, as you're asking, I think for us, it's people that deliver projects and realize innovation. And I think all of us, we don't deliver projects, we lead people and they deliver projects. We don't manage the people, we lead the people and we manage the projects. So I think that's embodied very well in the PMBOK, starting with principle 2, which is about the team, building and leading a good team, and then of course stakeholders as principle 3. So I think we're well supported in our profession for that.
Thank you. So a quick check with Joao. Are we good with the mic?
Are you listening?
I can hear you. You're a little bit distant still, but I can hear you much better than before.
Okay, listening now.
So maybe we'll ask the audience to put volume a little bit more, and then hopefully that would work for Joao. And then so coming back to the question that we had with one of the areas, so within the public area, are project managers being able to apply entrepreneurship, and is this mindset helpful or not? How we can work with that?
Yes, thank you, hello everyone. In the public area, I think it's most important to establish a clear goal. Not have goals with purpose in entrepreneurial product. And you can also focus in acquisition process and services, keeping efficiency and quality and satisfaction of systems, and within the deadline of budget established. My short tutorial. Thank you very much. Okay.
Right. So I'll be honest, Joao, I did not get everything that you said, unfortunately. So there's still something a little bit tricky with the noise. So how about we do that? Maybe you can change something that a little bit. How about you write the comment for the question that you want to answer as well in the meantime, so that audience definitely takes your take on this one here, all right? And as we try to address the challenge.
I write transformer.
Thank you. So we'll be moving forward. There is another question. There's a question from Newton, and maybe we'll start with Ravi on this one. So I think entrepreneurship is basically dealing with risks of any nature, especially at the beginning, when the margins for error are narrow. What do you think?
Okay, so in order to understand this question or topic around it, I think let's quickly dive into what do we actually mean by entrepreneurship. So this topic has been here for the last 4 or 5 decades, and during the evolution of software industry, this topic became like a center focal area, because a lot of new innovations happened, new product came, iPhone was one, and then many other products have been coming on and on. So this mindset is actually about being solution oriented. It's how we think about a product, not just a project. Then second part is how quickly we can kind of change ourselves in order to deliver that product. So it's like first is solution mindset, then being adaptable, and then third is anti-fragile. Now, what is this anti-fragile? Which means that challenging the norms what we have. So if we club these three things together, and going back to the question, that is this only dealing with the risks and also at the early phases of our project or product development? The answer is not really. Risk management should happen throughout the journey of your project, what you're delivering, and then also looking at your organization's goal and the product which you are contributing. So risk is very, very important, but we have to be solution oriented. We have to be adaptable. We have to be anti-fragile, challenging norms with our heart, head, hand, and your whole thinking. So that's my take on it. It has to be there, but yeah, it has to be there holistically with other components. At GitHub, which is again a innovation product, and right now Microsoft owns it, we say that the first principle what we have is ship to learn. If you have anything in your mind, if you feel that can be a product, can be a feature, just put that idea, practice and prepare, and then present it, which means that have some kind of prototype ready. And once you have that presented, which is like shift to learn, and then you improve further on that. So that's my take on it. Over to you, and then maybe others can add to it.
So I'll just comment one thing. I'm actually reading the book Anti-Fragile right now. It's by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. Right. And so for those that do not know the definition, what he's stating at the beginning, I am at the beginning of the book, right? So anti-fragile is not resilient or able to sustain something, but actually growing from disaster, so to speak, right? So one of the examples he's giving is on the muscle, right? Whenever you do exercises and hard exercises, right? Then your muscles break, but actually your body anticipates that there will be more exercise coming, so it grows because of that, right? And the same should be happening with the systems, organizations that we would build, and the entrepreneurs should be building in that way as well. Right? Thank you, Ravi.
In that context, for example, of anti-fragile and entrepreneurs, we could say, for example, the ability to not just focus on one single thing, but drive different scenarios and what ifs or risk management can be very useful in that respect. So no matter what happened in the outset, because remember that our projects are part of a context, a part of an organization. So no matter what happens in the outside, our project keep moving forward consistently. And for that, scenarios are very, very useful.
Perfect. And well, Ravi, thank you so much. So we do have roughly 10 minutes left. So what we will do, we'll go with the final one question from the audience, and then a short wrap up from everyone with the short sentence or summary. And we also will, I do have already answered question by Joao, so I will read the answer to you so that we have covered that as well. In the meeting. So first the question from Nafis Abdullah Khan. Can all the employees be perfectly aligned with the mission and vision? If an intrapreneurship is more inspired in a project, is there chance or are there chances of higher rate of conflicts about innovative ideas? If so, what are the ways to deal with it? So I think, Keith, maybe you would like to start with this one. You were covering the elements of how the innovation sparking within the teams and moving forward could be beneficial. Do you see also the challenges with the conflicts if that mindset grows?
Yeah. So I actually wrote a journal article for the PMI journal about storytelling, the art of storytelling. And what essentially the art of storytelling says is that you package your project into a story, which enables the entire team to be aligned with the visions and the goals. Because normally what you have is that from the very, very beginning, if there is that misalignment, your project will not work. I think I spoke about scenario, and we're all project managers. Yeah, we've had scenarios where you've had to do the work yourself because it was not just moving. And part reason behind that is that it becomes quite hard to move forward or to even manage any type of risk if your team is not buying into the vision of the project. And many times from a corporate perspective, the onus is on you as a project manager to ensure that that vision and goals are communicated to the rest of the team. So definitely, I think some of the biggest project, I think from a South Africa and Southern Africa perspective, there's a lot of big projects that died out, that completely went, some are even sitting abandoned buildings because of such stories where, misalignment happened, not only from a higher level, but from an actual even project management perspective. And I think when you not want to put it back, when you talk about storytelling, and if you want to relate it now to the entrepreneurial topic, is that if you're an entrepreneur, especially if you talk to the people that are doing startups, they always tell you it's not easy. But when it comes to doing that pitch deck presentation, they need to be quite convincing. They need to ensure that the person on the other side of the table is able to buy into the story that they're selling, or they're able to see the vision that they're presenting. And many times when you talk about the storytelling, it's almost that same type of scenario where instead of being the investors on the other side, you have your entire team. And your entire team would also include, in some cases, the management. Because I think lastly, what normally then happens is that you, as a project manager, you are told, okay, this is a big project, build a solar power plant. The budget is 120 million rands. Okay, cool. You should do it in 18 months. Sometimes it's impossible, right? And as a project manager, when you want to now ensure that that has been set out properly, it becomes almost quite difficult to have your team quite on board with what you have been given. And many times projects then just died. So yeah, I think to end off, it definitely is a make or break for a lot of projects. But I would then counteract it with that. I think this is where tools like storytelling, which is quite a huge tool that is used within the entrepreneurial space, becomes quite important for a lot of project managers.
Thank you, Keith. And Manuel?
Yeah, to complement that, mission and vision are very relevant, but we can complement that with another word that I think is very, very key here, which is purpose. Why are we doing this? But not just why because I need to, or because it's something in the plan, but really the why. Yeah. What are the benefits of our project? And for that, one in the question is, so what are the ways to deal with it if our employees or if our teammates don't see that value right away? Then one thing that it can be done is to connect this mission and vision of the project with one of the sustainable development goals. One of the 17 sustainable development goals. What can you obtain with that? Then every project can be one way or the other connected to one of these sustainable development goals. Then our team can see that they are not just working in an activity, in a task, on a planning. They are not just going to a meeting. They, in the end, are going to have an impact wherever they are in the world to one of those sustainable development goals that in aggregated, it's going to transform, it's going to make our world better. And we all want to work in something that really have an impact. We don't just want to work in things. We want to work in something impactful. And for that, this can be like a good technique or a good idea to do.
Thank you, Manuel. And to add on top of that, I think that there's this concept of healthy conflict where you're actually saying, hey, we don't necessarily need to agree on everything. We should discuss, right? We should challenge ourselves as long as you mentioned, we understand this direction that we're heading to, and then the best concept wins, right? So there are those quotes, I think actually from Apple, but maybe from somewhere else that Keith mentioned, right? That, the best project or the best product should win rather than the politics, right? So the best speaker and so on. And that helps neatly with building the culture of what you want to achieve and how you want people to behave. Right, so with that, we will be wrapping up. Now, I'll read the comment and the answer from Joao on the question regarding the entrepreneurship of project manager in the public area. And in the meantime, you prepare your very short 1 or 2 sentences of summary from you as a panelist to the whole audience. So the answer on the public area is, you must establish clear goals for the project of acquisition of public services, seeking efficiency, quality, and satisfaction of citizens within the deadline and budget established. Right? So you need to do a really proper project management, and then when you understand that, the entrepreneurship within those frames would work for you. All right. So with the final round and the updates, maybe we'll go from the back. Joao, if you want to write something for me, please do. And I'll ask maybe, actually from the top, right? Galen, sorry. If you could give one takeaway that you're taking or giving to the audience.
I'm not sure. Can you ask me again later? Let me think about it.
Absolutely. Moving to Ravi.
Is indeed a tough one, and I think we all have heard so many good things. So I would say, and this is also my personal key takeaway, that entrepreneurship is actually a journey. It's not a destination, and we improve every day. That's one part. The second one is we always look holistically that why we are doing this, even if we are doing this project, and we have a human tendency that we go deep into what we are doing and then defocus from the surroundings. So always try to bring back, why are we doing this? What's the uber goal of this project, of this organization? So again, repeating that, keep that why question always to yourself, to your team, to your organization, and then go from there. I think that's my insight on this, and it's a journey.
Thank you. Thank you. Prasanna, would you like to give yours? As Prasanna is looking for the right place to click, Manuel?
Yeah. Project managers are very well positioned to be entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs. Why? Because we want to make ideas come true, and we do it for external projects and also internal projects in our company. But it's not only that, it's the other way around. How project management can also bring value to entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship through techniques, the brainstorming, the prototypes, the minimum value product, and also the soft skills, the patience, the passion, and the persistence to consistently moving ahead.
Yeah, Dave.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you. Prasanna?
Yeah, I think wonderful thoughts I'm hearing. I think project managers needs to be, as a soft skill is very, very important. He needs to be very realistic. He needs to be, he is like intermediate guy who is really driving the project and giving those updates back to the management who is looking forward for the project success. So he needs to be very true, realistic. He needs to be sometimes very clear with expectations. While being a soft spoken, while being humble, he needs to really show where we are as a project. Sometimes, most of the time, as it happens that giving false updates, giving incorrect updates really make unsuccessful projects. So apart from being soft spoken, he needs to be realistic. He needs to have some view of those technologies which are being utilized. He should have a high level overview, but whenever it needed, he has to go to the nitty-gritties so that he understands those risk assumptions, dependencies, and the issues and the mitigation factors also. So it should be overseeing everything, I think, with a larger view where the organization is or a particular program is moving ahead for one orbit to another orbit. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. And Keith?
I think just my key takeaway out of here is that, as project managers, we should never stop learning, whether it's within lessons learned from other projects. Institutions like PMI have created that platform where we can learn from the different projects that are happening across the different industries. There is so much power in learning and sharing lessons learned, which can go a long way. And again, if we tie back to entrepreneurship, right, that's the core aspect which we have been speaking about how you never stop learning. It's also about creating that environment of learning. And I think what I'd also like to say is that there's power in communication. And in communication, there needs to come an understanding of what empathy it means. if you're a project manager, because your success in a project is not that check coming in from your company side and saying, oh, we have closed the project. It's how you impact the people you're working with. I think that's why all of us ended up within this project management space, is that we wanted to create long-lasting impact. So impact those you're working with, because there lies a greater success than financial. Yes, money is important, but yeah, the impact you make for other people is quite important. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Joao, I see that you are nodding to everything that others are saying, so that you definitely agree with everything. If you'd like for us to pass something, just write it and we'll provide it to the team. And then in the meantime, Galen, coming back to you.
Thank you, Jeremy. So I was really curious about the last question and discussion around conflict. And I did a quick Google search, and I found a lovely quote where conflict, and I put it in the chat, but conflict is the primary engine of creativity and innovation. And I was surprised that it was actually from a guy called Ronnie Heifetz, who people may know is a Harvard professor, was the founding professor for the Center for Public Leadership, but also was one of the primary authors for adaptive leadership. And of course, you know, that plays well into our profession. And I think the bridge for me here is that we can learn leadership. You know, it's well proven. We can learn to be better leaders. And then, you know, what Keith and others were saying, I think we can also therefore learn to be better entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs.
Thank you. And that very neatly sums things up for us. Everyone can be a great intrapreneur and entrepreneur. So we keep fingers crossed for you. We hope you enjoyed the panel discussion. And now I'll pass it to Priscilla and Priya.
Thank you, Shamek. And that was a wonderful panel discussion. You moderated it very well. We had some glitches here and there, but we managed it. Yes, so over to the next section of this event. Yeah, so in the beginning of the session, we introduced you to the Xchange effect map. And now here we present the attendees for this event. And this is all sourced from that Menti poll that you took in the beginning of the event. So thank you very much for joining us in joining this event from all corners of the world. And now for the attendee spotlight. Well, the winning quote is just there on your screen. And if Akash is there on this event, and if you're able to open up your mic, you may tell this quote to our audience right now. Are you there, Akash?
Yeah, thank you, Priya, for for letting me speak. And yes, this is what popped up in my mind, that we should always keep room for some mistakes, and because if we make mistakes, we'll be more creative the next time. And thank you, Priya. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Akash. So it is the mistakes that lead us to become more entrepreneurial, plus more creative. So thank you very much for that quote, Akash. And now to the next section. Over to you, Isabel.
Yeah, thank you, Priya. Wow, what a session today. So we are now wrapping up the day, and we would like to thank you all. So let me please start with Galen, our guest speaker. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's important to have someone.
Can I stop you for a moment? We will have to hand this over to Clotilde for the outro section.
Clotilde was first. So sorry, Clotilde, please go ahead.
Hi, Clotilde. How are you?
Hello, thank you so much. I would like to thank all our speakers. It was very, 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 very interesting. And I would just like to share some key takeaways of this session. The first one is the definition. I noted that entrepreneurship or intrapreneurship is a journey, not a destination. And that means serving a vision. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you have first to decide what is your vision. About customer centricity, delivering with a key focus on customers, customer is the reason of entrepreneurship journey. And about people, we have as intrapreneur or as entrepreneur, we have to involve board members, stakeholders, and we have to know that we lead people and manage project. We lead people and manage project. What is the mindset of an entrepreneur or intrapreneur is 3P: passion, perseverance, and patience. This journey is not easy, so you have to adopt this mindset. About the leadership, what did they say about the leadership of entrepreneur? Entrepreneur should lead by example, empower and delegate, create a safety environment, allow time to innovation, and promote a learning culture. About innovation, people are the one who deliver innovation and project. Innovation is a team sport, is a team effort, and could be simple. Don't always think about complex things when you are thinking about innovation. And the last point is, what need a PM, a project manager, to succeed in intrapreneur or intrapreneurship or in entrepreneurship journey? First of all, the PM must understand the context. The context means knowing where he is going, knowing what he is looking for. The PM should have a very good network. He should understand the necessity of continuous learning. So that's for me the must key takeaways you have to keep to being a successful intrapreneur or intrapreneur. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Clotilde. And with this, over to you, Isabel, again for the next, to wrap up this entire event.
Yeah, sorry for my mistake. Anyways, we were thanking everybody. So as we said, first of all, Galen, our guest speaker, good to have PMI Board of Directors present in our activities. Thank you, Psemek. I think you did a great job as moderator. And of course, thank you to all our panelists. Having these open interactive conversations and you guys sharing your knowledge is so enriching to all of us. So thank you to Ravi, Manuel, Prasanna, Keith, and Joao Carlos. Another thank you for Jesus for introducing us PMI Madrid Spain chapter and for inviting us all to come to Spain. And now please give us feedback. Please scan this QR code. Tell us, how did you like the topic? How was the session flow? Did you have issues registering and joining, or everything was perfect? Just give us some feedback. But also please take the opportunity to let us know what are the topics you would like us to cover in upcoming sessions for the PMI Chapter Exchange? And also more internally, thank you to Sunil and Ahmad for your help as web admins. Thank you, Damike, for all the flyers and the social media posts. And Priscilla, thank you for the event analytics, because this way is when we know how many people from all over the world are interested on our events. And thank you, attendees. This is the core of these sessions, the attendees, and you make this effort worth the while. And last but not least, for PMI members and certification holders, you can claim your PDU with the code you see here in the slide. And anyways, an email will be sent out with all the details on how to claim the PDU. Stay tuned for the next events, information from PMI Chapter Exchange, and have a lovely day. And thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And with this, we wrap up our season 4, even 6. And we'll see you again next month with another exciting topic. And that would be on generative AI. So I'm sure that will be very, very exciting. Well, with that, see you again. Till then, stay happy and stay healthy. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.